Alright, so this is what I got going on. I started the truck up yesterday. Primarily what I was looking to do was go ahead and verify the transmission. Never had this thing in gear, so the plan for yesterday was I was going to go ahead and start it up, get it up to operating temperature, let it warm up a little while, put it in gear, make sure I had good gears, and I was also going to go ahead, I've got it jacked up right now, it's got it on stands, but I was going to go ahead and put it in gear, get some rolling action here, and then I was going to also verify my brakes. Well, started everything up, everything's going great. So what happened was I went ahead and started the truck up, got it warmed up a little bit, and was able to put it in reverse, neutral, drive, everything looked good, wheels rotating. Problem I run into, however, was no brakes. That's what I was going to say. Problem was I didn't have any brakes. Brake pedal was extremely soft, went to the floor. I could pump it a few times and slowly start getting some pressure built up, but for the most part, no brake pressure, no floor. Pedal would go straight to the floor. So right now I'm wondering if I have low enough, if I got good enough vacuum, or if I got vacuum leaks going to my booster. I'm gonna go ahead and start it up and check for leaks with start spraying all my connections, specifically around the carburetor. I want to spray some cleaner around this gasket as well as this other gasket above the plate. I got a little 1-inch spacer plate there, 2 gaskets on either side. Spray it around there, see if it pulls in. I should be able to hear something on the idle. Idle should change if it is something on the I mean, I don't think I need to pull this off, and I will. I guess I could just pull this off, this hose goes to my distributor. Verify that these right here aren't leaking. I pulled that hose off last time it was running. Had good pressure there. To be honest though, I don't know what's desirable for what's the target vacuum. Last thing I'm going to check, I'll use that spray and spray the whole intake. Hopefully I don't have some leaks around the intake. I did go and buy this old, I'll probably regret buying it already, I haven't even used it yet, but just an old vacuum gauge. I'm going to plug it up to the carburetor just to see what I'm starting with. See how that works. That's more of a play around with something. We'll see. attempted to bleed my brakes. And when I say bleed my brakes, all I did was loosen the bleeder screw, keeping the master cylinder full, and looking for air bubbles coming out of the bleeder. A high point vent on your calipers. Did that. Brakes still weren't working. Went around looking for vacuum leaks. I actually went out and bought a vacuum gauge. So I don't think I have a vacuum issue. I think it's still a matter of bleeding the brakes. I did a YouTube search and everyone says that no brake pressure or no pressure on the pedal and it goes straight to the floor. You're more or less looking at a bad master cylinder. This is a brand new cylinder. If it's messed up, I'm going to be irate. Talking to some guys at work, they are suggesting I go ahead and do a better job bleeding the brakes. So one guy at work went ahead and gave me one of these little vacuum pumps. One man brake bleeding tool. Never done it before. We'll try it. That's pretty much all it came with. So I'm gonna pull my rear wheels off again. Hook these up, see if I can pull a vacuum on them and bleed any more or pull any more air bubbles out of the line. Hoping that's it. I'll admit I was a little skeptical on this, but I just hooked this thing up. What is that? A little over 5 inches mercury vacuum. Like I said, that was only 2 pumps. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but I just barely cracked this thing. I barely cracked it, and then I gave it 2 pumps. And I'm kind of, like I said, I'm kind of blown away that it's working like it is. Quite a few little air bubbles, so I'm just going to leave this vacuum on here and see how much air bubbles I can pull out. I'm actually going to go ahead and try to hang this. I cut excessively long amount of hose on purpose. I'm going to try to route it up so I can get as much head from this hose up, instead of that way the brake fluid doesn't want to go down into my little collection can here. So in fact, instead of talking about it, let me see if I can do it right here on camera. Hopefully I don't. Of course, this is awkward as hell. So now I'll see how long I can keep vacuum on this. As long as I keep vacuum, it should pull air bubbles out. I'm gonna go pop open the reservoir, make sure I don't drain it and pull air into the system. got the brakes tweaked, got them dialed in. They actually stopped the vehicle. I think I showed some brake checks on it. Small little rolls here and there. I didn't get a picture or video of me pulling out of the garage, but I did get one of me pulling back in the garage. And I didn't do anything fancy. All I did was pull it out of the garage and made a little 3-point turn, went to the top of the driveway, backed it. I just want to make sure all the gears were working and my brakes were good. Backed it back down, pulled it back up, and just brought it right back in the garage. I mean, I was probably outside the garage for 5 minutes. So I called it a success. Had a good brakes. They worked. I was happy about that. I didn't do a whole lot of commentary on how I bled the brakes. That was my first time doing it with the little one-man vacuum pump. Here, hold on. Alright, so this is all it is, just a little hand pump. It's a vacuum. Holds a vacuum on the bleeder screw. You hook this other end of the hose up to the bleeder. It's got a little catch can right here in case any oil makes it all the way through. I borrowed this off a guy at work when I was telling him what I had going on. Thought it was vacuum, thought it was maybe the master cylinder. He told me to try this. I'm glad it worked awesome. But the hose he gave me was just a little bit shorter. I had some of this laying around, this little Tygon tubing. Get it at Lowe's or whatever, but about my only takeaway from that whole ordeal was on that bleeder screw, just barely crack it open, you start seeing a small minuscule bubbles popping through in the hose here. You'll see it pulling pretty quickly, but small bubbles, real slow rate. I got in a hurry on the first one. I was like, this is doing great, I'm pulling all this air out. So I cracked open that bleeder screw. I started getting impatient. I cracked the bleeder screw open more and more and more, and I kept getting more and more air. I'm like, man, I didn't know there was this much air in there. Well, turned out what it was it wasn't that much air in the system. What it was all the air was bypassing around that bleeder screw and getting pulled right back up into this hose. So I was kind of introducing air at the bleeder screw. So it wasn't air in the system, I was letting air get sucked into the system right there at that bleeder screw. So take it slow, just little bitty bubbles at a time. Every so often I would close it off, pinch it off, vent pressure, let everything kind of settle a little bit more, and do it again. So that was my big takeaway. I did all 4 corners. The back ones were the only ones that I really had issues with. And when I say issues, I didn't have problems doing it. That's where I saw the most air, was my rear. The front, I didn't have too many problems. That went relatively quickly. Of course, it's a lot shorter tubing run too, so. But that's that.